Good day, strategy gamers, and welcome back to episode 7 of our Let's Play series, Ruler Waves 3 as Japan. We're going to be starting the episode with a couple of highlights of what we'll be going over today, and really it's pretty exciting because we finally got our new war with China. Now, the last time we had a war with China, it lasted, I think, 3 months. It was shocking how quick the war ended. They had sounded out for peace. France then came in and mediated for us, and we did not actually get any of the promised territories or possessions. So it was really quite disappointing. But let's take a look at the landscape today. It is a little different, but some of our priorities are the same. We're going to continue having an invasion target of the Leitong Peninsula. We really are interested there in getting more of a foothold and taking more of that that area that's bordering our Korean territories. We're also looking at a blockade situation. Unfortunately, China, just due to their numerical superiority that they have in ships, they have a blockade over us in Northeast Asia right now, and their strength is 174, ours is 133. With that math, all that's needed is 147, so they easily meet that. Now, it's worth noting that we have 2 Iwate heavy cruisers that will be finished building in the next month. Their blockade strength should get us to about 155, which then means we're only a couple of blockade strength away from the Chinese. So I think we're going to be pretty close then at breaking that blockade when those 2 heavy cruisers come in, but we really do need to sink a couple of Chinese ships to break through that blockade. We also have an additional risk because they have a further 50 or so blockade strength currently in Southeast Asia, because they have ports and bases in Southeast Asia as well. So if they bring those forces north, it's going to make it harder for us. Our third objective is really just to protect our Korean bases. We got these a couple of episodes ago, and they're really helping us with our budget. Our budget in the last 2 episodes has gone from about 100,000 to 184,000. So that's something that we really want to make sure we keep our economy growing and keeping those Korean territories. And it's a bit of a risk because it's so near all of those Chinese ports. So they have great safety and ability to retreat to those ports if the engagement does not favor them. Last is, war escalation. We're currently the underdogs a little bit in this war. China is one of the few nations we can actually stand a chance against. If somebody like Russia came in, fighting Russia and China would not be a good recipe. Russia has moderate tension with us right now, and they have no tension with China, so it's something that we have to watch out for. When we look at the fleet comparison, we actually see for battleships that we picked up a little bit of ground. We now have 5 battleships, whereas in the last war we had just 1. The 4 Fuso classes that we've built in Great Britain with 13-inch guns really outclass anything that they have. They do have 1 larger battleship that they built in France with 12-inch guns that is more of a traditional design with heavier displacement and armor, but even that, our specs still beat it out. Most of their battleships are actually a very old design where the turrets are actually on the 2 wings, if that makes sense. I should have put a picture in here, but effectively what it means is going broadside to broadside, they only bring to bear 2 turrets. So it's a very interesting design, and most of those battleships that we see in their arsenal are about 7,400 tons, I believe is the number. So while they have many more than us, toe-to-toe, our battleship should come out on top. Heavy cruisers, we picked up some ground too with our new Iwate heavy cruisers that sport 9-inch guns. So that gives us a little bit of superiority in the heavy cruiser quality space, although we are, again, numerically outnumbered. In light cruisers, though, we really step up the game a bit, where we have a total of 16 light cruisers compared to their 6. That's really going to help us, considering that in the last couple of months, the whole world has started to design destroyers. Now, China has about 5 active right now, with a number more being built. Our own destroyers are going to be rolling off the docks for the coming months quite rapidly. But these light cruisers are really going to be so important to try to fend off against torpedo attacks from those faster destroyers that are now starting to enter the battlefield. It is one area of consideration that we need to keep top of mind, is the battlefield is evolving in this point in time. This will be the first war that sees destroyers, so how everybody adapts to that poses some risk. With that, let's hop on over to the game, and we will see how the next turns go. Now, some may recall in the last episode, we had a lot of great technologies come through, and I want to start with this before I forget. We're going to go to our doctrine. We've already been training in gunnery. We're also going to establish the Naval Academy, which we unlocked previously. It's going to cost $150 a month, but it increases quality of our officers and number of them. And as you'll recall, for this entire series, we're going to be relying upon the computer, the AI, to manage our battles. So it's my belief that, considering we have that handicap, if you will, that we need to make sure those commanders, captains, admirals that we're putting out there to sea are of top-notch quality, because we can't interfere and save them from themselves. So we're going to make that quick change. We'll also see that we're short on trade protection. So let's go and toss our 3 corvettes towards trade protection. So that should satisfy that. And then on the map, we'll also designate our invasion target. So Port Arthur, of course, the most famous there. Oh, we can't do the invasion target because we're blockaded. So we really need to break that blockade as quickly as we possibly can. Do a quick once over of our ships. Everyone is in division. Everyone has commanders. We're looking good. And last episode, we did have our surprise attack, which was a complete letdown, to be honest with you. And we took some damage with some ships. So we are short a heavy cruiser, a light cruiser, actually a couple of light cruisers here. But we have coming off the line 2 heavy cruisers shortly, destroyers in the coming months. And in 16 months, we get another Fuso. So let's see what the next turn has in store for us. So we have a cruiser action in the Southeast Asia theater near Shanghai, battle size medium. Ooh, we can ambush an enemy force. Now, it doesn't tell us what the enemy force is, though. I think we need to take the battle because we need to break that blockade, and we need to sink some ships. We need to be a little aggressive here. So the enemy was unable to challenge our forces, and we got a very nice victory point boost. So that's very positive. We also see that the Yakumo is commissioned into the Navy, and we lost 200, or the enemy gained 250 victory points for their blockade of us. For news, we had steel shortages, so that delayed that other heavy cruiser from being completed this month. And you can see all of the destroyers that everyone is building. And the Furataka is commissioned, and 7 destroyers are commissioned. I think I had a little bit of a glitch there. I did not click next turn, but it went ahead and did the next turn. So, again, we get the blockade notice. I'm getting a little bit of a bug because these messages are the same from last turn. Okay, well that seems to now be over, thankfully. So let's go ahead and assign these heavy cruisers commanders first. We have a couple of above average here, so let's use them. And this good administrator we will also use. Now we need to add them to a division. So it is we will put them in the Asama division. Same with the sister ship here. Yeah, I think that's right. That's good. Okay. So let's take a quick little look at the blockade status. We have 153 now. Okay, and the enemy has 25. Something doesn't quite feel right about that. Did they move their forces to the Southeast Asia theater? It's looking like that may be what's going on. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like they've moved their fleet to Southeast Asia. That is a very curious decision, but that now frees up the blockade, so we can go and set Port Arthur as our invasion target. I don't think there's anything else we need to do here before the next turn. We're back to positive and balance since those heavy cruisers complete it. We can maybe do a few more destroyers, but I think we'll wait another turn or two here. I don't think we're building new docks. Let's actually start new dock construction to expand that. All right, and now we'll go to the next turn. Cruiser action. So battle size is small, but our forces in the area, looks like everything's kind of on the table. Well, let's take the action because, again, at the cruiser level, we do have a little bit of an advantage numerically. So we have 3 of our heavy cruisers from the 1st Cruiser Division, and then 3 of our light cruisers. The expected enemy forces is 1 battleship, 4 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruiser. The battleship is, of course, a concern, but if they are those very light battleships of 7,000 tons, maybe we can actually sink it. But let's give action to the enemy. And let's see what we run into. So let's pause here and look. So looks like heavy cruisers, all of the Beiyin class. So these purportedly have 8-inch guns, 6 of them. Now we have 9-inch guns and 8-inch guns with these heavy cruisers that are out here right now. So the 9-inch give us a little bit of advantage. I believe we have a little bit more armor. 20 knots. I worry. I think we have some 19 knots, so that might give them a speed advantage. So this is actually one of our light cruisers here. So this is the Iwati. So here we have 4 9-inch. We do have better armor. So that is of benefit to us. Well, let's see how this goes. I'll try to pause when we start to see some action. Okay, so the lines have started to engage. The light cruiser Nanawa has taken some hits. Damage is at 4%. Don't think we've yet done enough damage to anything on their line. Unpause. Pause again to see how this is going. The Azuma has taken some damage. They are getting some hits in on us. Light damage on this particular heavy cruiser though, so that is positive that we've already got that. Let's continue. I think we have a bit of an advantage here because their heavy cruisers have split off from their 2 light cruisers, which is a little interesting. Nanawa still taking some fire. Unfortunately, the Zumu, though, is at 28% damage. And this Fei Yun class is at medium damage now. Let's continue further. Hopefully they're concentrating their fire well enough. So this one is light damage reporting now, but it's reporting on fire. So that is a great sign. We are taking on the Tokawa 25% damage. The Azuma 6. So I mean, there's no flooding or anything like that. So this is good. Just take a look at their log. Okay, so Turret A is jamming and back in action and then jammed. Let's see what the Azuma is doing. We have some structure damage and just a little bit of flotation. Looks like some hits. So hitting a coal bunker. High speed did some flooding there. And jam in turret A as well. Interesting. Let's continue forward. Really hope that last heavy cruiser in their line, we can finish that one off perhaps. Ooh, that light cruiser I think forced the AI to draw back just a little. So now the two forces for a moment are actually heading away from each other. It looks like they're turning back in a little bit. They are. Yes, that last heavy cruiser is struggling. You can see it separating now from the line. That's a really good sign. Medium damage on fire. Still doing all right with the Azuma here. Yeah, let's keep going. So it looks like, most recently here, it was firing its secondary guns the 6 inches and it was having a hit. Oh, but it broke off there. Did something happen? Yeah, it took more damage. It took a couple hits, it looks like. Superstructure, hull hit. Okay. So it detached to a jammed rudder. It almost looks as if this particular Baiyun had the same thing. Nope. Oh no, yeah, so the Azuma is stuck there. That's not good. So now it's their 3 heavy cruisers to our 2. That's not great. The light cruisers have stayed almost entirely out of this action. We have 3 down here that are doing, watch my language here, nothing. They're doing absolutely nothing. I'd really wish it would maybe make a run at these guys. See if we got any updates here. Tokawa's doing fine. This turret A's just keep jamming on all of these ships. Let's see over here. Got a hull hit, okay. Now this light cruiser could come in here from the rear, but it's sticking with the Azuma. That's good actually, I'm glad it's doing that. They're doing a good job of protecting their more heavily damaged heavy cruiser here, and it's no longer on fire, so I think we've lost the advantage. Our Azuma, though, is being back to itself. It's going to turn to night soon here, unfortunately, though, so this is probably going to end up in maybe a slight victory for us, if not, probably considered a draw. Hoping the AI just retreats here now that it's night. It looks like they are. They're heading to port. Okay. So it looks like there were some rough seas, too, that might have made this all a little more difficult. All right, so scenario's over. We were the victor, actually. So we got heavy damage to a heavy cruiser, medium to 1, and light to another. Whereas we took light damage on 2 and medium on 1. I think that's a pretty positive result considering the circumstances. Look at some of the details here. It scored. Do we not have any data on hits scored? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I was misreading it just a little. Surely there were more hits than that, though. Interesting. Let's see. So we had a total of 22 hits. They had a total of 24. Okay. Well, we will go ahead and exit and continue the war. So we got a little bit of a victory point bump there. What happens next? We had condenser trouble with one of the new heavy cruisers. Got 2 new destroyers that were also commissioned. And the invasion is delayed, not having enough force superiority. Yes, I think they sent their fleet back to Northeast Asia, so probably going to see a blockade here. Yeah, we did. Okay. So it was briefly lifted, the blockade was. Now it's back. Looks like we lost our commander here, so we'll go ahead and assign one. We'll just do an average commander, I think. And down here we lost another. Let's do this guy. All right, so have more destroyers coming soon. We're a little negative here on budget. We do have a couple of we have 3 heavy cruisers that are in port for repair, and 1 that is still working up. Our destroyers are all still working up, so we'll give them another turn. I don't know why I did that. I was going to do division, but we'll wait till they finish working up. Enemy coastal raid. Okay. We definitely have to take this. They decline, we get 800 victory points. Convoy defense. Well, let's give that a shot. They decline. A battleship engagement. I think they rebased their fleet again. I don't know why they're going back and forth between the 2 theaters, but it's giving us a very nice victory point benefit. They've sent out fillers for a negotiated peace without border changes. Not a chance. Yeah, we're going to continue fighting here. Good. Okay, so no peace. And we have invaded the Chinese possession in the Leitong Peninsula. And we blockaded the enemy this turn because it looks like they rebased their fleet. I'm trying to think of reasons why they may have done that. Interesting. Go back to the map here. So currently fighting there. They bring back their forces. Nope. Let's see. Everything's looking good here. I guess let's actually do a destroyer division. Probably do a couple actually. I think we have 20 buildings. We'll just prep these now. They'll all be ready in the next 6 to 7 months, I believe. Toss those 5 in there. Give them a commander. Let's do this above average captain, I think. And then let's set their role support to the 2nd Battle Division. So that's good. This next one, we will add these 5. And let's give them a commander. Nothing for above average. A brilliant captain. like we'll save him for the next Fuso battleship that we have. Given that, let's just do an average. Don't need a gunnery expert. We'll do this average captain. And we'll set their role. I think we will have them also be support. We'll specifically have them support, though. Let's see. I think the 1st Cruiser Division. Okay. So that's done. Go to the next turn. Battle and support of land combat. Oh, this is going to be good. They decline. We can... Something's going on with them moving between the 2 theaters. This is a little disappointing, to be honest. Us gaining the speed of border areas in some of their colonies. I want to keep fighting here. I wanted to try to actually defeat their navy, bring them down a little bit. Now we've lost the budget from it as well. Oh, goodness. That's disappointing once more. Okay, not too much in the news there. Warships finished working up. Something's happening here where ending turn is actually doing 2. That's a little concerning. I'd have to check the save. Close that. So we actually did not gain any disputed territory. That's really frustrating. And we've had the budget slashed by about 40%. Very, very frustrating. Okay, well, let's see what else we got here. So some destroyers still coming up. We'll continue just a little bit more. Tensions are all really low, but we'll try to... let's see. Do we balance the budget when the destroyers finish? They really aren't costing anything, so it's not going to make up the deficit. I think we're going to have to halt the Iki until the Kai finishes construction. That's too bad. The Spanish keep having technology breakthroughs. That's like 4 now in the last couple of turns. So we got a blueprint for the Spanish battleship that's under construction. Looks like a new class. They're 10-inch guns. I would love a war with Spain. We would do very well against that. Okay, so we got some technology advancements. Hey, watertight integrity. Look at us. We're keeping that water out of the ships like nobody else. Our Spain spies are doing a great job. Okay. A number of destroyers finishing here next month. I'd really like to try to increase the budget just a little more if we could. Let's toss those new destroyers, though, into a division before we forget. Put them into the 3rd Destroyer Division. Let's give the 3rd Destroyer Division a commander. Just an average one is fine. We will have these, in terms of role, be independent with the 2nd Battle Division. Next turn. 4 more finish working up. Improve turret construction. Technology, at least, has been some benefit to us. Let's get these new 4 destroyers into that last division. Of course, we will now set commander and role. Average is fine. And we will have you support 2nd Cruiser Division. I think that works all right. We'll sort this back by type. And budget's getting a little better. We'll have 1 more that finishes. And then we should be able to coast our way until the Kai is complete, and then we can resume construction on the 3rd in the class. France is sending, yeah, you can go have Morocco, that's fine. I don't think there's anything here that gets us budget. There is not. France has taken a new colony. Good for them. Let's take the last destroyer there and add it to the 4th Destroyer Division. So we now have our 20 destroyers in the fleet. Feels good. 6 more months until the Kai is ready. Let's try to find a way to increase the budget with events, everybody. The Chinese ship, the Chen Heng heavy cruiser, blueprint, 8-inch guns, just 2 of them, my goodness. 19 knots, 3 inches of belt. Why can we not have a real war with China? I don't understand. Okay, tension increased a little bit though, so maybe there'll be another soon. All of our destroyers finishing working up. And Great Britain got a Chinese territory. Yes, let's raise armament expenditures and increase tension and budget. Okay, so Chinese lost a territory. Our budget is now positive, so we're going to resume construction here on the 3rd Kai class. And when those are done, well, let's think about that for a second. So when the Kai finishes, we will have about 1,100 in surplus. We also have docks completing soon. I wonder if perhaps I kind of feel like we want more battleships, just kind of given, we look at the almanac here, it is a crazy picture when it comes to battleships. It's really kind of insane. Congratulations, Great Britain, on breaking 1 million tons in your fleet. I think we need to catch up in this game just a little bit. We are behind in the heavy cruiser race as well, but not by as much. So let's continue with those battleships. We are still in the era of the big gun battleship. We're a ways off from any type of air shenanigans. So yeah, let's keep going with the big gun battleships. Great Britain and visiting ships. All for more budget, but I don't think we need prestige. So we'll just take the neutral option. No tension. I don't like the tension with Great Britain being that high. Not that high, but more so that it's, compared to everybody else, tied for the highest. And we actually stole some technology from Spain. Way to go, spies. You guys are crushing it. Let's see here. Oh no, and everybody's now taking Chinese territories. This just gets worse and worse for us. So a number of officers realizing their abilities. Now there is this interesting consideration though. Now with the US having a territory in Northeast Asia, this might work out well for us as, yeah, they don't have anything here yet, but it may work out well to increase tensions with the US and then perhaps give us some chances to take some of their territories, specifically in the Central Pacific. So I guess that's not too bad. And when we look at them in the almanac, they certainly are ahead of us, but not that much. I mean, they're, in terms of fleet tonnage, they're just barely ahead of China, and we feel very confident with them. Their budget is quite a bit higher. But the other thing, so this exists with Russia and the US, I feel. The US does have to split their forces between the Pacific and the Atlantic, just as Russia has to split them between the Pacific and the European theaters. So I always feel you have a little bit of a one-up on the US there. Go another turn. New docks are completed, and the Kai is commissioned into the Navy. So that's all some good news. Let's go look real quick at that Kai, and we're going to assign it, I think, that brilliant commander, or captain, excuse me, that we had. I think that makes sense, and we will add them to the 2nd Battleship Division. Although we will probably break them off into a 3rd Battleship Division as we build more. And let's just preemptively now go ahead and build another Kai class. Let's find a different name. There we go. We're going to let our budget go up just a little bit in case we need to perhaps buy technology or something like that. But I think this is probably a decent spot to end the episode. Any questions, comments, or thoughts, please leave them below. I'd love to see if all of you are just as outraged by how that war with China ended much the same way as the first war we had with China. I'm trying really hard for us to get some more action, everyone, but it's proving a little difficult. With that, those strategy gamers, hoping you have yourselves an excellent day. Bye now.